Hi everyone and welcome to Club 6 episode 4 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So since you and I were together last, it's been continuing to be very inconsistent in terms of our results. We've had a couple of losses, a couple of draws and a couple of wins in the Premier League, but we did go through in our Champions League group stage. So I'll catch you up on all of that today as well. But the focus is a game against Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League. We're sitting currently down in 8th position. Can we improve on that today? Let's find out. Welcome back to Arsenal. So indeed, we do just sit outside of the European spots just at the moment. We've played an extra game than quite a few of the teams around us. If we go into the league table, you'll see we've played 18 and the majority of teams around us have played 17. We're a couple of points behind the likes of Brighton and Southampton directly above us in the top 7 of the Premier League. So Brighton are going to be a tricky opponent today. Specifically, I think, are we at home? Let me just find out. We are at home, so that kind of helps us. But, 6th versus 8th in the Premier League, close together, important stuff. If we can reel them in, then that will help us moving forward. But at the moment, they've got a couple of points advantage over us and a game in hand. So we'll see what happens with that in a minute. But let's just focus for a moment on the Champions League. We did go through our group stage in the Champions League, and we've been drawn later on in February, March time to play PSG, unfortunately. One of the big sides in the competition. So we'll see how they are. I mean, obviously, we are currently in 2032 in terms of the year. So lots of things could have changed. So what PSG will be like, we will have to find that out. But if we go back to our group stage and have a look at all of the groups, we were in Group A and we got through by the skin of our teeth in the end. It was a decent last sort of ditch effort to get through. We got a draw against Monaco, which I think was just kind of slightly under what I was hoping for at this point here. 2-2 draw away from home. Not a bad result, but really when we were trying to claw our way out of the group, it wasn't fantastic. But then we did get the win in the last game against Ostend, and obviously Monaco didn't get the result they were looking for, so we went through in the end. So not too bad. We got through a tricky group with the likes of Monaco and Bayern Munich in it. So we are through in that competition. In terms of the Premier League, as you can see here, we have been very inconsistent. It's a couple of draws, couple of wins, couple of losses in the last sort of 8 games or so that we've played. So we need to continue the consistent form of the last 2 matches where we did get 2 wins in a row. So let's see how we get on today against Brighton. So in terms of personnel, I've had to make a couple of really tricky decisions on this particular occasion. There's a couple of players that are injured. Both Gavi and Fasanella are both out of today's game just for a little bit of a knock that they've taken. So that's a bit of a problem. So we would have to reshape a little bit. But to be honest, when I put the team in that I was thinking of playing in terms of most of my first lineup, minus those couple of players, it was a bit of a problem. If you look carefully on the sub bench and beyond, there's sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 players that basically are not quite as fit as you would want them to be. Their conditioning is looking a little bit worse for wear, and I'm a little bit concerned about pushing them too far. So I've made the call, and it usually goes wrong on an episode when I make this call, to rotate the 11 pretty much consistently. You can see normally my 11 on the pitch is number 1 through to 11, just so I know where people play. We've only got 2 of those players potentially from my starting 11, and Carlos has actually lost his place in it, so he's not really one. Only one of them at the moment is in my first 11. So we've rotated a lot. We've had to rest a few players through fitness and conditioning issues. Brighton are up above us by 2 points in the league, but we are at home. Can we pull off a bit of a challenging win on this particular occasion? For the game, we're going to go in with Solis in goal, Jimenez at right back, Esprand at left back, Leonardo and Newton in central defence, Carlos, Pobega and Cleverley in central midfield, Saka on the right, Arobio on the left and Martinez up top. And a bench of 9 players ready and raring to go should we need them. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So because of where the opponent are, because of also the players that we're actually using for today's match, it felt right that I, hands in pockets as a gesture, very chilled out, very calm, basically just said to them, go out there, relax, play your natural game, and the result will come. We'll see what happens with that. It demotivated a couple of them who wanted more of a rallying cry, it seems. But hopefully it will relax a couple of the key players in this particular starting lineup also, and maybe enable them to pull out a great performance. So Brighton come in with a 4-4-2. We are in a slightly different formation of our 4-2-3-1. So there might be some gaps around for each of the teams to exploit. We shall see. Early on, Arobio puts a cross in from our left-hand side, trying to get it into the box, and Brighton clear it and maintain possession, and they can now counter-attack themselves. They've done it very, very well in terms of just maintaining the possession, holding on to the ball, slowing the game down. They've worked it from the right to the left. They've worked up the lines a little bit as well. They get the cross in, and they get a goal from it. And it's a very poor goal from the goalkeeper's perspective. If you watch as the cross comes in, the goalkeeper moves across to try and narrow the angle over at the far post. And it opens up the space on this side of the goal far too much as he moves across. And he can't get back on himself. That's really quite poor goalkeeping. It was a good enough header, but the defenders probably should have put him under a little bit more pressure as well. And we do go 1-0 down. This was always a gamble. I said it was always a gamble before we even started the game to rotate the 11, but they were so tired and they were so jaded. And I was so concerned that we've got some really big matches coming up that we needed to rest them. But we are back in the game. 21 minutes in, it kind of caught me a little bit by surprise. It was quite a quick build-up. It was off a free kick that Leonardo took at the back. And then Esprand just dinks it over the top for the on-running Saka. And he gets on the end of it, controls it very nicely, and then just taps it over the top of the oncoming goalkeeper. And we do go back to 1-1 with our very first shot on goal, let alone on target, at 22 minutes. So you can see that we have struggled a little bit, but there's a second effort on target as well. Saka with a long-range free kick. The goalkeeper parries it out for a corner. So we're beginning to just turn the screw a little bit and put the pressure on. Corner comes in, but it's not great. But we do win the ball in midfield, and then the highlight goes, unfortunately. But it has been a pretty insignificant start in terms of the amount of chances that we've created, and we're not dominating the game at all. They've had more possession than us, better XG rating, the expected goals from the chances that we created, and also a few more shots at goal. But we have put one of ours in the back of the net, and we do go in at half-time at 1-1. Not quite what I'm looking for. We gave them a half of very chilled out and relaxed attitude. Now we're going to absolutely go in and just push the button a little bit. So we're going to pump the fists, and we're going to go with favourites here, go out there and put a performance to cheer for, just to put it back in their heads that actually we should be winning this game, even though Brighton are ahead of us in the league. In terms of where we are supposed to finish this season, the pre-season preview, as it were, then we were actually ahead of them in the pecking order, and we are slightly underperforming and they're slightly overperforming this season so far. So we've got to find a way to turn that round. 64 minutes in, again, very quiet in the first sort of 20 minutes of this second half. But the highlight does come about. 65 minutes on the clock. We do have possession in midfield. If we can control the ball and work a good opportunity here, there might be something in it for us. And there's the ball over the top again, Cleverley. And the goalkeeper comes out, and Cleverley does really well, really well. He was very wide, and the goalkeeper came charging out and closed the space down, but he composed himself very nicely and managed to get the ball past the goalkeeper, but there was still a lot to do to get it on target at that kind of angle in that kind of circumstance, and he does it really, really well. And we take a 2-1 lead at 65 minutes on the clock. We're just checking the lines in terms of the VAR, quite why they're even checking that one. I don't know. We were miles onside, but we do check it nonetheless. We get a free kick here and we win the second ball when it's cleared from the defence into midfield. We do win that one back. And that was a very good cross in from the right-hand side. Arobio comes in off the left-hand side, gets a tap at goal, but it's quite close to the keeper and he manages to parry it away. But it was a good effort nonetheless. 71 minutes on the clock. We've got another highlight and then we'll be thinking about making a couple of changes. Brighton have absolutely hit the self-destruct button, though, in theory, because at 74 minutes on the clock, one of their players, Popovic, gets a second yellow card and gets sent off. So they're now down 2-1 in the game. We've got 15 minutes to play. They're now down to 10 men as well. Can we see this one through? We're going to make a couple of changes now and make it all about energy levels. We've got 3 players specifically that are looking really out on their feet. So we're going to take them out, basically. So Pobega comes out and we're going to put De Souza in. Saka comes out. We'll put Damsgaard in. And we're going to take Martinez out and we're going to put Barry in, Louis Barry. So there's a couple of players that come out having performed very, very well. There's also Martinez, who has not performed very, very well, but it was all about getting the conditioning of the players back up again and the energy levels, and those were the players that were suffering the most. So let's see if that can see us through the last 15 minutes against 10-man Brighton. 2-1 up at this point we are, and let's just see if we can kind of calmly dominate the rest of the game. No highlights would be absolutely fine with me, and it looks it's going that way, to be honest. 4 minutes of injury time to play. The time has flown by, and we are there for the final whistle. Nothing happened. We did well. We got the lead eventually. We turned the game around a little bit. Brighton then hit the self-destruct button, and then we saw the game out pretty well. Those additional changes that we made, I think just bringing that energy level back up again, made us all the more difficult to get the ball off of potentially, and we just passed it about for 10-15 minutes and won in the end reasonably comfortably. So not too bad. So we'll go with well done, lads, good win for us, and then we'll continue on. Ultimately, that should improve our league position. They were remembered 2 points clear of us, but they had a game in hand. They've still got that game in hand, but now we will be a point clear of them. So we've picked up a position there. We are up into 7th. As you see, most of the teams around us now have played their 18th match. We are on 19. So we are, although we're 2 points behind Tottenham above us, who are sitting... Oh, no, we've actually moved 2 spaces up. Apologies. We're moved up into 6th. So Tottenham in 5th are 2 points clear of us, but they have played a game less than we have. So we're beginning to make moves back into this European title picture, which is where we kind of need to be. We were predicted a 5th place finish. I'll be happy with anywhere around that this season. But not a bad result for us, really. I think that's a fairly decent win against a tricky side that are obviously performing well this season. But on this particular occasion, we just had a little bit too much for them. So we'll go through the news feed a little bit. And this is the problem that we've got. Martinez now a little bit jaded. He's 35 years old. His attributes suggest that he's a better player now than actually he's showing this season. I will be moving him on as soon as I possibly can at this point. I feel we need to freshen that particular spot up in the team, but we'll see how that works out for us. But other than that, not too bad. You can see we're also attracting some interest for some of our periphery players who are slightly unhappy about the game time they're getting as well. I will deal with that one off camera. But for now, we'll think about next episode. And what's coming up next episode, if we go back into the schedule, is the January transfer window. So usually what I do is I go right the way through January, come back, play the first game of February, and update you on everything that's been going on within that. It's going to be something similar to that, but the first game back is Liverpool in February. So we're not going to play that game because we've already played them this season on one of the episodes. We're going to come back the game before, and we're going to play the Newcastle United match away from home at the very end of January. All of my business should be done by then in terms of transfers if I make any, and I intend to try. And so I'll be able to update you with that. And then we'll play the Newcastle match. And then after that, we will go through the rest of the season and see how we can compete in the Champions League and see how high up in the Premier League we can finish. So all in all, not a bad game today, not a bad result for us. Tricky opponent, which we got the better of. We can move forward, but if the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that the next 2 fixtures that you won't see necessarily, but I'll have to play through, are Man City and Chelsea. Man City sitting in 2nd, Chelsea in 4th. If we could keep our slightly good run of form going through a couple of those matches and get maybe 3 points from one of the 2 games, I'll be pretty happy with that. Come back next episode. I'll update you on that. I'll update you on all the January transfer movement as well. Until then, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.